Jai Ho, my dear students. I am Ratnakar Suryamshi from SK Public School. In the last class, as you know that what we have learned, right? We have learned about new region and empire, right? I mean region, about various regions and about various empires, right? How those emerged, about that we have already learned. So today we are going to take up the last concept of the lesson, which is that lesson tracing changes through 1,000 years. In this lesson, the last concept, that is thinking about time and historical periods. Thinking about time and historical periods. So about this today we will learn. See what happened here. See, important point here. See, social various changes took place. As you all know that in the past, I mean in the 1,000 years of history, various social as well as economic as well as political changes took place in the past. And even see, which means here we have to understand that time by time, I mean as the time went on passing, so at that time what happens is various social as well as economic and political changes took place, as well as the new ideas emerged as well as new beliefs arrived in the society. New ideas also emerged as well as new beliefs, nambike, that is also arrived in the medieval period, in the 1,000 years it is. And even say that the study of time is made somewhat easier. The study of time is made somewhat easier by what? By the periodization. By what? By the periodization. By the periodization of past. By the periodization of past into large segments. Into large segments means what? Into large divisions. Into large divisions, the past, the time was divided into large divisions. That is what we call periodization. So this periodization made the study of time easy. The study of time is easy to us. It is made by historians. For what and how it is made? How it is made means by the periodization. I mean dividing the past, dividing the past time into divisions, into large segments. So this way, now the study of time is somewhat easy. And then what happens in the middle of the 19th century, during the time of the mid-19th century, British historians divided the Indian history into three periods. Into how many periods? Into three periods. See, British historians divided the Indian history into how many periods? Into three periods. British historians divided the Indian history into three periods. And those three periods are Hindu, Muslim and the British. The British means here you can understand Christian. Which one? Christian. So these are the three periods. So in these periods, the history of India was divided by whom? By the British historians. Especially I am telling James Mill. Who was that? James Mill. The British historian divided the Indian history into these three periods: Hindu, Muslim and British, I mean Christian. But what is the base? What was the base taken to divide the Indian history into these three periods? The base taken to divide the Indian history into these three periods was the religion. What was taken here? The religion. What? The religion was the religion of the rulers or the kings or the emperors or the empires was taken as the base for the division of Indian history into these three periods. I mean on the basis of religion, the history of India was divided by the British into these three periods by the British historians. right? Which means this type of division of Indian history was not included any economic significance, any economic changes or any social changes or any political changes. These were not included in this. So this is what happened. And other historians also divided the Indian history. Other historians also divided the Indian history on the basis of what? On the basis of the changes took place. On the basis of the economic changes, political changes, social changes. On these basis also, historians have divided the history of India into three periods. Those three periods are ancient, medieval, and modern. So into these three periods also Indian history is divided by the various historians. So see, in this way the history of India was divided into categories, right? In this division of history, periodization of history, we can see the changes were considered, economic, social and political changes were considered in these divisions of history of India. Last year you have already learned, I mean in the class 6 you have learned about ancient history of India. You have learned about ancient history of India. What all the factors, what all the things you have learned. See, you have already learned about the farmers, early farmers you learned, right? As well as you have learned about the forest societies, I mean people living in forest, about them you have learned, as well as I mean hunter-gatherers you learned mainly. Hunter-gatherers you have learned, already you have learned how the towns and villages grown up. About this also you have learned in the last year. That is what considered as ancient period. And in this year, I mean in class 7, you are going to learn about what? About the medieval history. You are going to learn in this class about the medieval history. So, say, in the medieval history means what we learn? We will learn again the spread of peasant societies, I mean spread of farming activities. About that also we learn, as well as we learn in this class we learn the rise of regional kingdoms, as well as the rise of imperial states. I mean how the kings, how the empires arise or emerged, how those empires or regional kingdoms were formed. About that also we learn in this class. And see, this is what we learn in this class. Even we are going to learn about what? Even we learn a little bit about pastoral and forest people, as well as we learn about the developments of two religions. Which are those two religions? Hinduism and Islam. Even we learn about Hinduism and Islam. About those also we are going to learn, as well as we are going to learn about how European trading companies arrived to India. How European trading companies came to India or the Indian subcontinent. About these also we are going to learn. I mean, whatever the things I have written here, about all these things we learn in the class 7 history. I mean, this is what all together we considered as medieval period. Here only it is the medieval period. So about this we are going to learn. See, these 1000 years of history, I mean almost 700 to 1750, almost 1000 years of Indian history. This 1000 years of Indian history witnessed considerable changes. Many changes took place, important changes took place in the medieval period, in the 1000 years of history. And say, especially the history of 16th and 18th centuries were completely different from the histories of 8th and 11th centuries. I mean, completely it was different only. The 8th and 7th centuries or the 12th centuries, 11th centuries history is different, and the history of 17th century, or it may be the 18th century, or it may be the 16th century, was all different. But we have tried here to make it all together as one period. That was medieval. Various changes took place, but there was an interconnection in this. So that's why we made it to learn in one. And even see, modern history also is there, which means in 8th class you will learn about the modern history of India. So, modern history means you have to understand modern India, where the intellectual advancement took place, where the developments took place, where the progress in the science or in the knowledge took place. That was modern history. So, about that also we will learn in the upcoming, in the 8th class. But in this year, we are going to learn about the medieval history. And during these 1000 years, the societies of the subcontinent were transformed often, and economies of several regions reached a level of prosperity that attracted the interest of European companies. What happens here? During the medieval period in Indian subcontinent, various societies are transformed often. Social structures were changed and economic developments were took place. And because of the economic developments in some regions which took place, those regions become prosper. Very wealthy, very rich. And that richness of the Indian subcontinent's regions attracted the European companies to start trade with India, with Indian subcontinent. And the historical here, see, as you read in this class, we even learn about what all the changes took place. We observe in this class what changes took place in the medieval period, and even we compare that what we have learned in the last year and what we are learning in the present, in the 7th. So about this also we need to compare. The changes are continued. There is a continuity in the changes. Changes keep on changing. Changes keep on moving on, taking place. So even we learn about the world around, what was happening even outside the Indian subcontinent. About that also we will learn in the whole class 7 history. So this is about the thinking about time and historical periods, and this is the last concept of tracing changes through 1000 years. So now we have finished the first chapter of history section. Thank you. Jai Hind.